going to have a few slides to talk about. So what I want to really talk about is a couple of things, and I wanted to take a very uh, but both a strategic and a tactical view. So if you are saying, hey, well, wait a minute, I thought this was going to be all strategy, let me know. Or if you think, oh, no, wait a minute, I need more tactical information, then I'll provide more tactical information. I want to try to let the first session will kind of set the tone, and then get some feedback as we go along and adjust. We've got 2 more sessions to adjust, so that's something that I've been looking forward to doing as we go through the process. So I'm going to do a couple of things. One is just a brief introduction. So my name is Karl Kapp, for those that you might not know me, and I'm a professor of instructional technology at Bloomsburg University in Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania. It's a graduate program. I've been teaching there for over 20 years. I think this year was 25 years. So been doing instructional design for a long time, back when we had laser discs and then we had CD-ROMs. I actually, my first job, I had a computer, or one of my early jobs, where we would boot with one floppy disk, and then we would run Word Perfect with another floppy disk. So lots of experience with the different technologies, and I've written a few books and have some LinkedIn learning courses. So if you're on LinkedIn, you can check out some courses there. I just did one on learning in the metaverse, which was a lot of fun, and branching simulations. So 2 courses there. But today we're going to talk about really what it's like to think about outside the course. So the first thing I want you to do is do not hit enter, but in the chat, I want you to just type in what you hope to learn today. Rick, I always drive through that. That's a good Panera. I eat there several times. We might have even been there at the same time. But go ahead and don't hit enter, but write what you hope to learn during the course of this workshop, and then we will take a look at those in a moment. So I'll just give you one more moment to go ahead and type that in. Doesn't have to be long, just maybe a Twitter version of what you hope to learn in the workshop, and then we will go from there. So everybody's got that? Okay, I'm gonna assume that you have. I never know how long to wait when people type in. I'm kind of a slow typer. And I thank my grandmother, though, for making me a typer at all. When I was in 9th grade, there was a typing class at my high school, and I was pretty adamant that I was not going to take typing because I would not need to know how to type. I would have somebody to type for me. That was my 9th grade brain, right? Is the best class I ever took. My grandmother was like, if you take it, I'll give you, I don't know, $5 or something like that if you get an A. I don't think I got an A, so maybe I only got $3, but still, it was very, very popular. Okay, so here's what I'd like you to do now. I'd like you to say, when I say go, just hit enter. So go ahead, go. So go ahead and enter in your information. And now what we'll do is we'll scroll back up, and then if everyone could just briefly introduce yourselves in the order of, so I'm going to stop sharing for a minute. In the order of the scroll, if whoever went first, so I'm scrolling up, and so it looks like Rick James was the first one. So Rick, good job, first of all, on the fast hand-eye coordination, but second, if you could just introduce yourself, where you're working, what you're doing real quick, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, Rich James. I live in Columbus, Ohio. I work for Tier 1 Performance, which is a consulting company that's all over the country. So I work remotely here in Columbus. What else am I supposed to say?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So interesting. I have a colleague that I wrote a book with, Sharon Bowler, who had a company called Bottom Line Performance, which was sold or absorbed, or however you want to do it, into Tier 1. So awesome.
Yeah, that's part of the lore. I've only been here a year, but yeah, aware that history.
Very nice, very nice, great. So selling ideas, right? Learning definitely is a journey and not an event, and it's still a hard ship to turn. So we'll be talking about that. So thank you. Great to have you with us, Andrew.
Hey, hi everyone. My name is Andrew Muccio. I'm currently living in Honolulu, Hawaii, and my work involves I work for Booz Allen Hamilton, a defense contractor, kind of consulting firm, doing instructional design work, and right now currently working with the U.S. Air Force to see how we can do better job giving them the tools they need to successfully support operations from a logistical front. So an example might be, hey, if we know we're going to fly missions somewhere, like how do we get fuel there? How can we do that faster, better, more efficiently? So giving them the tools from both a learning and organizational strategy standpoint to do those things better.
Yeah, that's excellent. As we are learning, watching what the horror unfolding in Europe, we certainly have become aware of how important logistics are. So really kind of underlining the importance of that. So thank you, Andrew, and Julie. Julie is next.
Hi, everyone. I'm Julie. I'm in the US in Madison, Wisconsin. I'm an instructional designer working for a startup company. It's an app called Upside. So doing a lot of internal training to help. Most of it's going to be onboarding at this point, helping employees learn how to do their job. And it's quite technical work.
Great. Well, that sounds very interesting. And I have to say, I love your what you're hoping to learn, right? Kind of open learning to anything. So that's awesome. So thanks, Julie. Great to have you with us. Heather?
Hi, I'm Heather. I'm in Canada, Edmonton specifically, and I'm a learning designer at an online learning company. We've got a wide range of clients, and yeah, just looking for some new strategies that I can hopefully sell them on.
Cool. Great. Well, great to have you with us, Heather. Deb, you're next.
Hello, everyone. I'm Deb Cregan. I am a learning designer for a company in Maine. The company is called Very Done. They do kind of half the firm is traditional tax and audit and accounting, and the other half is consulting on a variety of things for a variety of industries. So my job is to provide training and other learning experiences that cover sort of a firm-wide list of competencies that we have.
Okay,
very
great.
Challenging.
Yeah.
And I want them to see how we can do things that are just more than just the event.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and a very diverse group that you're teaching in terms of that you're helping to learn in terms of the organizational needs and probably even disposition of the learners, right? Yes. So fantastic, Deb. Thanks. So here is where so Harihanto, is that how did I do on that?
You can call me Hari.
Hari, okay.
Yes.
But how do you pronounce it just for
Harianto.
Harianto? Okay, thank you.
Yes. Hi everyone. Actually in my chat box, my comment comes before Deb. So I was getting prepared to say something. And then, so it's interesting to see that actually in different Zoom accounts, the order is different. Yes, so I live in Indonesia and I'm a lecturer at the university here in Indonesia, mostly in learning and development and organizational learning. But I'm also a consultant and I'm helping some organizations develop their learning programs. So I'm really excited about your presentation here, and I hope I can learn a lot from you and from all the excellent speakers here. Thank you.
Excellent. All right, great to have you here. Thank you, and welcome. Next, I think we have, is it Gamze or Gamze?
Gamze.
Gamze. Gamze.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Gamze, great to have you.
Yeah. Hello, I'm from Turkey, Istanbul, and I'm working as a learning partner in Maersk. logistic company, shipping company. This is my second day of my new role. Before that, I was a learning and development partner manager in the area level, but this position became a global one, and I really looking forward to hear how I can make the learning journey more professional way in my new role, and every kind of learning program how we can design and the different tools. I'm looking for the learn everything new and more professional way in this program actually.
Great, excellent, and congratulations on your new position. Very exciting.
Thank you so much.
Karina?
Yes, Karina. Hi everyone. You could hear me, right?
I can, yes.
Perfect. I am Karina, located in New Jersey. I am currently an instructional designer for HelloFresh as part of a customer care department. So I create trainings, onboardings, professional development for customer care agents as they work with customers as well as supervisors and leadership. And
oh, sorry.
And what I'm looking forward to today is just to learn more strategies, more ways to effectively integrate different types of media, different types of just things into training.
Great. No, thanks. Good to have you. And New Jersey, not too far from Pennsylvania, so that's we're right next door neighbors practically. Jesse.
Hi, thanks. Yeah, Jesse Kemp, Western Forest Products, located in Vancouver, British Columbia. My big next project is really supporting onboarding. So Julie, you and I are kind of aligned there and seeing what we can do to really support the employee journey through that process and help with retention. So thanks, Karl.
Great, fantastic, thank you. So wood products, is it like 2x4s? Is it wood buildings? Is it?
So we do everything from the timberlands, which is the harvesting of the lumber here in British Columbia, and then we take it to our own mills and turn it into some fantastic wood products, and then shoot it out. So, and I'm our learning and development specialist, so supporting the LD side of all of that fantastic work being done.
Oh, that's excellent. Sounds very interesting.
Oh,
Shelley?
Hey guys, I'm Shelley Gable, and I'm here from Denver, Colorado. I lead instructional strategy and instructional design for a company called WellBiz Brands, which is a parent company that no one has ever heard of, but our consumer-facing brands, which are throughout the U.S., include like Elements Massage, Dry Bar, which is a hair salon, Fitness Together, which is personal training. We have a waxing brand, we have eyelash extensions. And so in short, we're in the wellness and beauty industries, which is super fun because I get to work on programs for massage therapists, estheticians, cosmetologists, personal trainers, as well as like sales staff and managers and those types of things. Like I said, which is really fun. Yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Great, awesome. And we've had courses together before, as I recall, yes. And another interesting position where you're doing a broad range of different dispositions of the learner. So that's interesting as well. And I think we have one more person, but she's driving, so we're not going to ask her to, she's just listening in. And then, oh, okay. I don't know if you wanted to say hi or not.
Yeah, I can briefly say hi. Hello, everybody. My name is Sophie. I'm from Belgium. Sorry for the sound, but I'm driving on the highway. It's 6:30 in Belgium, so I'm driving home. I am basically working as a contractor or a self-employed person. I call myself a learnatic because I'm very greedy on learning. And that's also the red thread in my work. I do consulting and advice, as well as facilitating and training groups. And let's say the evidence-based approach is very important to me. So my clients are usually triggered by that one as well, that it's like evidence-based. And my clients, they really range, it's very broad. Let's say I'm currently working for a longer time already for Deloitte Belgium, as well as Deloitte University as an instructional designer. So I'm looking into their designs and how to improve the design basically. But I also have, for example, Boy Scouts as clients to facilitate some of their workshops when they are on campsites, for example. So that's basically who I am. And Carl, I'm also working now and then as a journalist. So I have been writing some articles about your work. I've seen you at ATD in the US a couple of times. So I'm kind of a fan and I'm very curious and yeah, looking forward to this session. So I'm going to mute myself again, not to do any accidents. But thank you for being in this session and hello, everybody.
Yes, thank you. Appreciate you taking the time and effort to be on this workshop while you're traveling home from work. So great to meet everybody. So we're already halfway done with the agenda, right? So the next item is what is this all about? So what is outside of the classroom or outside of the course? And I really wanted to focus on several different areas of being outside the course. So we're going to talk a little bit about the ecosystem next time, what it means to have a learning ecosystem and how that works. But today I wanted to talk about short form video and why I think that's really an important element in learning that often gets overlooked. So when we think about breaking out of the four walls of the course, I think we have to talk about a little bit about why that's happening with our learners. And there's a number of really interesting things that are going on. One of them is the lack of time. We all know we're stupendously busy, taking on lots of tasks, lots of things to do. So there's a lack of time. So people want to not sit down and engage in an entire course. There's also the need for the just-in-time learning format. So the old training used to be, oh, well, we're going to teach you this just in case you might need it. And people are like, well, I'm not going to remember it. I don't know if I'm ever going to need it. So they want to learn in the flow of work or close to the flow of work or when they want it. So lots of tools that we're already engaged with are teaching us that. So we're going to talk about social media tools here in a moment, but those are really have changed how we choose to consume information and data, right? It really hasn't changed us cognitively in terms of, we don't have an attention span of a goldfish. That's a myth. That is not based on any fact at all, but we do prefer shorter, quicker views of data and information. And we also, you probably found yourself, we also prefer, we're more comfortable now with multiple forms of data than ever before. So we'll watch TV and we'll scan our phone at the same time. So we're very used to quick doses of information. And then finally, desire for short forms of learning at the point of need, as I talked about. So over the course of this workshop, I want to talk about short form videos. I want to talk about infographics. I want to talk about job aids. I want to talk about a little bit about microlearning. I want to talk a little bit about how you get people to view learning as part of the process of being at work. A lot of times we would think of work as one thing and learning as another, but turns out that learning and work are really intertwined. So we need to think about how that intertwining of work and learning occurs. And it occurs a lot more than we think it does. We just don't always formally recognize it. So I want to talk about how do we recognize that and make some of that happen. So while we do that, I'd like to do a breakout activity. So first thing I want you to do is I want you to think about beyond the course types of learning that you've already incorporated. We have people here from around the world at various experiences with designing learning, both internally and externally, and for lots of other people as well. So what I'm going to ask you to do is for a minute, I'm going to have you think about it. Then we're going to break into groups of 3. And each person only gets 1 minute to describe their items, and then we'll do a little bit of a report out. So that's what we're going to do here in a moment. So first of all, we will need some breakout rooms. I think we have 13 people, so we have 4 breakout rooms. 1 breakout room, maybe we'll add another person, and oh no, including me would be 13, and the facilitator would be. So we should be able to do it. So anyway, two or 3. And then we'll do a report out. So I'm going to start right now. I want you to maybe write down and think about what beyond the course types of learning have you incorporated in courses? So I'm going to give you 1 minute to go ahead and do that. Okay, if Apple is correct, that's been about a minute. So let's go ahead and you're going to get some rooms. You can just volunteer to jump into a room and go ahead and take 1 minute to talk about your ideas, what your experience was, and then give each other person a minute to go ahead and do that breakdown. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, great. Welcome everyone back. Hopefully you had some productive conversations about what you're doing. I'd like to ask each group, one representative for each group, to take about a minute, no more than a minute, and kind of discuss what are some experiences or learning that you've incorporated already outside of the course. So why don't we just go in order? So the first group, group number 1.
Carl, I don't know what group we were
Okay.
in terms of numbers, but I was designated a report out for my group, so I could just hop right in.
Sounds good. Yeah, perfect.
So we had quite a comprehensive group or list, which was fantastic. A lot of great ideas, and job aids and support materials sent out afterward was one of the key ones that was repeated. So either emailing, there was one idea of sending out actually text messages to, if you can, to remind people. So it's that instant access. Other things discussed were stealth nudging is something that I brought up. That of course is a Will Thalheimer thing in terms of assessments and trying to encourage participants to think about application post-training, and that can be incorporated right into the post-training assessments. Knowledge repositories, communities of practice, short videos, checklists, nudges, visual nudges, so posters within your workspace, although I mentioned you should have to be cautious with that because you don't want a whole wall just littered with posters that nobody really sees anything then. And then repetition, and I find that to be really important as well, as if you want senior leadership to be repeating key messages and to signify how important it is, so that direct sponsorship is really valuable.
Great, perfect. I am taking notes here in the chat, so hopefully I captured most of what you said, Jesse. How about another group? And if there's something I missed, just go ahead and type it in. How about the other group, another group?
I'm not sure what group we were, but I will volunteer. So I was with Andrew and Gamze, and we had some ideas. Some of the things that have been done include wikis, providing articles, TED Talks, job aids, relevant websites. Nothing as fancy as some of the things that Jesse had provided, but we were a little bit more basic.
Okay, great. No, that sounds good. Job aids. Okay, how about the third group? Anything left?
I can go.
Okay.
Hari mentioned like video-based, like a library of videos, and Rich also mentioned sort of curated resource pages that people could go to later. Also, some outdoor games to extend learning, embedded help documents within like a software program. So for like just-in-time help, I guess. And then also fillable PDFs to use as resources later. So you could kind of fill it out during the course and then look back on it after, or do homework or whatever with it.
Great, perfect. So fantastic idea. So everybody, it seems, has had some experience with outside of the course. And I'm going to focus today on short form video. One of the groups mentioned that. Actually, maybe a couple groups mentioned that because there's some unique things that we can do with that particular type of learning that I think is really important and really kind of hits the message. So before we do that, just one more question. You can go ahead and open up another window, and you can copy this in polev.com/Karl Kapp, actually https:// polev.com slash Karl Kapp, and just let me know which of these social media accounts that you might partake in. It might be none of them, or you might partake in several of them. Let me know. Or let us know, actually, but it'll be anonymous, so that's okay. Yes. So let's take a look what we've got here, and it looks like most people are on Instagram or WhatsApp. WhatsApp, a really popular app. A few people on Reddit. No one's on TikTok or Snapchat. Interesting. Especially because I'm going to talk about TikTok. And TikTok in particular, I think is a really fascinating app that I want to discuss. But before that, if you're not on social media, and if you're thinking about the upcoming workforce, and a couple of you are talking about onboarding, 63% of Americans between the ages of 12 and 17 use TikTok on a weekly basis. 57% use Instagram, and 1 billion people worldwide use WhatsApp every single day. Users spend an average about 30 minutes on Snapchat, and Reddit has 52 million daily active users and approximately 43 million who use it once a month. So when we think about that, and we think about designing our training, there's no popular like course software, save maybe LinkedIn Learning or Skillsoft or something like that, that approaches this kind of use of content. And even if you look at something like LinkedIn, LinkedIn has gone to a short video format. When I did my first LinkedIn course way back when, 2014, I think, my course was 2.5 hours, and now they tell me to keep it below an hour. So very quick, and they crunch all kinds of numbers. So they can tell when I'm even not being very productive. So if we look specifically at TikTok, has anybody heard of this Miss TikTok, Miss Excel? Anybody heard of Miss Excel? No. So this is fascinating. So there's a woman on TikTok who dubs herself Miss Excel, and she uses TikTok to create training videos, very short, 30-second, 40-second videos, and she posts tips and leads to her online courses all about Excel. Now, one of the things that I know is that if you go to YouTube or if you go to Excel website itself, there are free videos, thousands of free videos on how to use Excel, thousands of free articles, thousands of free pieces of information, yet people decide willingly to pay for the courses and for what she does. So let's take a look at one of the things that she does, because I think it's fascinating to look at her videos and what she does that might be a little different than some of our traditional learning and development videos. So let's go ahead and we'll jump to Miss TikTok. So here's our video. So here's one, for example. Provides information on automatic row fitting, and she dances around a little bit. And then she's got other ones. There's one down here. She did a superhero one at one point. Did I send out the right version, right?
Do you ever look at someone and wonder what is going on inside
if you
their
sent out
head?
the right version?
Do you ever look at someone and wonder what is going on inside their head?
So she provides all of this really interesting movements with Excel content and information. So go ahead and take, just going to give you a moment, go to this website and just look at a couple of her videos. Just pick one at random, just kind of look at it, and then come back and just give me your impression on what you think of her videos. Oops, did I lose my slides? I did. Okay, so it only takes 30 seconds. You've probably seen one. What are your thoughts? Anybody have a thought?
They're energetic and
Energetic. Yep.
concise and focused.
Mm-hmm.
They're in the style that people like. It's informal.
Very
but they're
informal.
informative.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just kind of a need generation to it. Like, hey, you know, like it kind of taps into like that need from the audience, like that person, like, hey, you want to do that, or don't you get annoyed, or, you know, just tapping into that sense of frustration that people might have with certain features. Like I appreciate that a lot, actually.
Right. Yeah. She definitely brings the emotions to the table, and it's almost like sometimes like a visceral reaction that she provides, and it is a level of energy that's typically not done in a lot of training and development clips. And so, and the other thing is, all these TikTok videos are not by her. You know, we're not evaluating whether or not you understand how to input the right information, or if you understand how to recall a folder. She's just saying, hey, here's a very focused tip, and I'm not even going to evaluate it. She does some really interesting things. So it's basically a form of micro learning where she's providing very quick information. She's also using it as a funnel. So one of the things I don't think that we think about often as L&D professionals is, how do we funnel people into additional information? Or how do we set it up so we make what we're doing attractive, that somebody wants to go and see more, right? We just say, here's a course on compliance, or here's a course on onboarding. We don't like send out teasers to get people to want to come to our courses. So this is a good tool for teaser. And it's also, I showed this one time, did it? I guess I won't ask this, but there may be some people watching it because I don't like that. It's not for me. I think it's a little too informal. It's goofy, it's silly, et cetera, et cetera. But we might say, we're not going to have music and dance and education and what we're doing. We just want to, just a fax, ma'am. But the problem with that is we are educating people in organizations with a million different things competing for what we're trying to accomplish. So we need to have a little bit of the entertainment value, because again, she's competing with free online Excel resources, and many people would argue she's winning because she's able to provide things that, it's not just information about Excel, it's taking it to the next level. It's entertaining you, informing you, empathizing with you, providing the information, and none of it is within the course that she's providing. So if we think about creating TikTok-esque learning videos, what is our goal? So our goal might be to deliver actionable content and engage learners in just a few seconds. So again, I remember when we first did e-learning, we were taking 3-day courses and putting them onto Laserdisc. Well, we're not doing that anymore. We've got very quick interaction. So can you provide information in just a few seconds? So what does that even mean? Like, how do you go about designing for that? Well, one is, obviously you want to pick a topic that either needs reinforcement or reference, or areas of friction that people are forgetting. And a lot of time, presenting it as a hack or a tip or a technique. Hey, here's one technique for figuring out Excel, or one technique for showing you what you need to do. And then this is not typically thought about when we design instruction, but what's the feeling, attitude, vibe, or inspiration that we want to have in our video? So for example, if you're working for, and I don't want to pick on any particular professions, but my father was an engineer, and he had a very logical, very matter of fact manner, and he responded to information in that very methodical manner. My mom, she was more liberal arts, so she was a little bit more free spirited, and she responded to the free spirit. And organizations take on those types of personalities. So we need to think as learning and development designers, how far can our organization go in absorbing TikTok type information? Is music appropriate? Is humor appropriate? Is dancing appropriate? And you might be like, I don't know. I don't think it is. So I just want something a little bit more straightforward. We can use the same approach, but not necessarily add all those things, but we still want to have emotion. We still want to have some kind of entertainment value. So we need to think about how we can imbibe our short form videos with that type of information. We want to keep the video short, about 15 to 35 seconds. And this is a really interesting, because a lot of people think, oh, that's great, 15 to 35 seconds. That'll be like really easy to do. No, it's not easy. It's much harder to make a shorter video than it is to make a longer video. It becomes much more complicated or difficult to do. So we really need to think about that. Writing out the script is not very easy. It's only about 85 words. And so that's not a long script. So Jesse, really interesting question that you have about old loggers. So I would say one of the things that when we've done this before, is every company kind of has some folklore or myths about the company. So for example, and Jesse, I'm going to ask you about that in a minute. But FedEx, when it first started, about positively, absolutely has to be there overnight, in their corporate culture, they would tell stories about drivers who forgot their keys, and they would take the drop-off box, and like put the box into their truck so that the material would be there for the next day. So they got this. So there's a corporate culture about whatever it takes, it's got to be there overnight, right? And so that culture kind of pervaded the organization. And I would imagine there's probably some myths or some culture in Jesse around logging and around that kind of thing that would resonate with the group. Does that make sense?
Having run some sessions with our different departments, so we're about a 5,000 person organization. The corporate side, most people have post-secondary education, but on our unionized staff that are actually falling trees in the timberlands, first off, they're not allowed phones while working. It's just too dangerous. And then a lot of the individuals there, actually I had to adjust some of my materials because some of the language wasn't being comprehended. So just understanding the population that we're working with and trying to simplify. In the last session I ran, I actually had an individual and I was doing some interactive activities that was semi-illiterate. So poses a different set of problems in terms of trying to account for those situations, which is far more like the situations you have in like high school with the diversity within the classroom than others. So depending on my session and my group of learners, there's adjustments need to be made. And if I presented anything to the loggers regarding TikTok, I'm sure I'd be, it wouldn't land necessarily well. But
right. So yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just
Mm,
going to say, but I think with our corporate side of the business house, it would definitely
It
land
might
and
work.
resonate. But the
Yes.
other side of this is we have an aging population. Most people are just steering clear of this industry as a whole, which is one of our
Mhm.
challenges. This might be used as a recruitment tool to say, you know, we plant 3 trees to everyone run out. The Lorax isn't going to get us. We are involved with climate change, trying to do everything sustainably and
Mhm.
trying to change that message and let people know what we're trying to accomplish.
Yes. And so, and here's another interesting phenomenon that maybe you could tap into or not. Many times, like there's a few TikToks with like a 98-year-old grandma who's cooking, and it's so, and she's like really a character, kind of doing that. So maybe you could look out over your population of loggers, like the old grizzled loggers, and there might be a few guys out there or gals, not sure what the ratio is, who might, be a really kind of a character and really may enjoy kind of sharing with their peers. So sometimes leveraging a peer's knowledge, and because it's a short video and because they're talking about maybe safety, how to where to stand when a tree is felled or something like that, might actually resonate with the other folks. Now they might not be able to watch it there, but maybe before they go out or after shift or something like that. So sometimes leveraging the talent or personality of our learner population can be helpful.
Carl,
It
I
just
think that's a
depends.
brilliant idea. I think we definitely have a few characters out there that wouldn't mind being on stage and showing what they know to the youngins out there. And this might be an opportunity to connect with them. I think it's a fantastic idea. Thanks for
Great,
sharing.
excellent. Yeah, let me know. I can't wait to watch the videos. That would be a lot of fun. Hari, you have a hand raised?
Yes. Well, I found those videos interesting, not only in terms of the video itself, but because I think they go against some of the things, some of the principles that I've learned about what makes good instructional videos are. For example, I've been taught that to minimize distractions, all the theories about cognitive load.
Overload.
Yeah, don't put too much distraction, music and things like that. So yeah, I want to know what your opinions about that. Maybe because it is a short video, then these different principles are at work here.
I think there's a few things that are happening that are really interesting. So one, it's very narrowed and very focused. So I think that helps reduce some of the pre and post cognitive overload that you get when you try to learn multiple things at once. I think second of all, our populations are more adept and familiar with having distractions. Doesn't mean they're necessarily better learners with the distraction, but they're able to tune out and tune in a little bit more. The other thing that I find with the TikTok videos is you'll typically, at least myself and some other learners I've talked to, will typically watch it more than once because it's so short. So I think that perhaps if you just watched it once, you probably would miss maybe the educational outcome. But on the third time, which is less than a minute and a half, you then are focusing on what you want to do or focusing on the one piece of information that you happen to be looking for. So I think those videos are, in those ways, are compensating or making up for the cognitive overload. I certainly wouldn't recommend, even 15 minutes of somebody dancing and music and telling you about Excel. I don't think that would work at all. But I think that the targeted, it's literally one objective or one function that she teaches rather than like, oh, let's talk about how Excel spreadsheets work. So I think that's part of why it works. And the other thing that I think is interesting is um, that gets overlooked sometimes with the thoughts of cognitive overload and some of the research is that we also have to have the motivation. And so these provide, if you're going to Excel and you need to know how to maybe sum columns, which is a really easy thing to do, but let's say you don't know how to do that, you're motivated to learn. And so your research has shown that if you're motivated to learn something, you can put up with a lot of interference and distribution and disturbing things because you want that information. So I think that also drives it a little bit as well.
I see. So for that specific type of population and that specific purpose,
right, and amount of content. Yes, yeah. This is not.
Okay.
Yes, I don't want anyone to think that I'm thinking this is a panacea and that now you should put all your training on TikTok that or TikTok-esque. So no. But I think for specific purposes we can use it. So I think we could use it for helping people solve one specific problem. I think we can help it for people, reminding them, safety. A lot of safety people are like, oh, another safety course about PPE? You got to be kidding me, right? But what if you just did a quick thing? Hey, before you go into the sterile room, do this. Oh, okay, I got it. It's kind of fun. Somebody dancing around, that might help you. If I'm trying to teach an analyst how to analyze and make connections, to answer Deb's question, that's probably not a good way to do it. If I want to teach, for example, how to have a difficult conversation with an employee, probably TikTok type video with music and entertainment, not a good way to do it. So I think it has a lot to do with the style and tone, the culture of the organization, and the type of content that you're presenting. It works really well. Like software, it looks great because a lot of times there's one field that you need to figure out how it works, or Excel where you have these calculations that it's hard to remember everything. So it works really well in that type of environment. Some of the softer skills might be a little bit harder to pull off, and you might have to be a little more serious in the video that you create. So we only have about 5 minutes left. I'll stick around for a little bit if anybody needs to, but let me just kind of finish with the content. So when you script this, you're going to want to start with a hook, some kind of question or stat or something, and then you deliver the quick content, and then you kind of wrap it up with the point that you made in the beginning. And keeping attention, you can use movements, visuals, different types of instruction. Here, for example, is a video I did this morning just on using some of the TikTok techniques. And so I'll play it for you, and you can observe some of the techniques that can be used in a little bit more professional manner. You're not going to see me dancing, that's for sure.
Want to be a learning superhero? Well, if you do, you should create a hook for your instructional video. So what is a hook? Well,
okay, hold on. I thought I shared with the share sound.
Hook is a way to
okay, so because we don't have much time, I'm not going to spend all my time trying to.
Like what we did at the beginning of this video.
I will load this up into Circle. Esther, am I able to load videos into Circle?
The importance of the information.
Yes.
Or
great.
it could be a fact that the learner needs to know right away in order to
so I'll upload it, and then
you
can take a look
and why they're seeking the video.
Let me just try one more thing here. Share real quick.
Carl, while you're getting that ready, there was a great question on what you used. What app did you use to create this video?
Oh, okay. So I actually used a tool called Filmora. And to me, it's by a company called Wondershare. So Filmora, and Wondershare is the company. And the really interesting thing about Filmora is it comes with filters already built in. So for example, the superhero filter is just a packet that I downloaded, and then it allows me to do a lot of different things with it. So it allows me to do transitions, comic book openings. It allows me to do the titles on the bottom, the third on the bottom. So it provides a lot of really cool things and editing. So for example, in this video
Learning
clip, when I did the whisper
superhero?
to
Well,
the
if you do,
side,
you should
those were
create a
just
hook
2
for
blur
your
edits
instructional
that I
video.
was able to
So
put
what is a hook?
into the
Well, a hook is a way to grab the learner's
tool
attention.
using
So
Filmora.
it could be a
So if you
question
are thinking
like
about
what we
doing anything
did at
like
the
this,
beginning of this
Filmora,
video.
and it's
Or it
it's
could
dirt
be a
cheap.
quote
It's
from the
less than
CEO of your
when I bought it was
organization
less than
talking about the
$100. Yeah, this
importance
is an
of the
MP4
information.
format
Or it could be a
that I put in, but
fact
you can
that the learner
also
needs to know
release
right
other
away in
formats as
order to
well. You
do
can,
the
so let me
job that
just
they're
real
trying to
quick,
do. And
I'll launch Filmora because it's, and I don't have any financial relationship with this company, but I have never used a tool video tool. Like I've used Premiere, which is like, you have to know the 747. It's like the cockpit of a 747. It's very complicated to me. I've used some other Apple tools, which weren't quite as effective, but Filmora, here's my creating a hook. I just open the project. Where did I, creating a hook. Yeah, that's it. And so it just opens a project. It's got a timeline, and literally I go up to, okay, yep. I just go up to transition, and then this is all my transitions. I can do basic transitions like dissolve or fade, and I literally just drag it down onto my timeline. And of course it's not working right now. Yeah, drag it onto your timeline, and then you have your transition. And then if you don't like that, you can change it. And then this allows me to see where my timeline is. I can adjust my audio. So if you were thinking of doing this, using Filmora is a really powerful tool and can be really helpful. Other questions? Yeah, they all look very similar and they all have different, like it's whatever you're comfortable with. But I like it because when I create a video, for example, let me just do this real quick. If I export it, it gives me all these different formats. I can even export as a GIF if I wanted to, AVI if people still use that, .mov, MP4. And if you were using like Vimeo internally or YouTube, you can actually send it right to YouTube and right to Vimeo. So it provides a really nice tool there as well. So it works really well. And then what I did for just a little trick for my blur,
so it could
I
be a
just recorded
question
that as
like
I
what we
was
did at the
doing
beginning of this video.
the presentation.
Or
So
it could
I did
be
it in
a
a very
quote
linear
from the CEO.
fashion. So I did that aside linearly. Then I cut the video with this cut tool, and then I just added the transition. I just dragged it down there. So it looks like kind of another
So
cut
it could
or
be a
another clip,
question
but
like what we
literally
did
it
at the
was
beginning
all
of
the
this
same video clip.
Or it could
Didn't make any
be
changes
a
there
quote
at
from the
all.
CEO of your
So that's a
organization
really
talking about
powerful way to do these videos and to set them up. So yeah, so thanks everybody. What with UTry, it would be great if as a homework assignment, and I'll post the video into Circle, I'll send that to Esther. Think about yourself, create a little script, go ahead and think about creating a little video. And if you're up to it, we'd love to see some next week. That would be really cool. So let me stop here, see if there are other questions or anything I can answer. If this is kind of meeting your needs, let me know. If there's a different direction, let me know that as well. Next week, I want to talk about infographics and some ways that we can use and leverage infographics.
So before the questions, it's actually not going to be next week.
You're right.
It's going to be the second session is going to be Monday, the 24th. Same times from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. ET. So you have a little bit more time to do
Yes. So you have plenty of time. We should see tons of videos. You could even use Zoom to create one. It's not quite as, they don't have all of the effects, but you could throw in some PowerPoint animations or something like that, and that would work as well.
Karl, I have a
Go ahead, Julie.
I have a question or
Sure.
something that I'm curious if you can sort of sprinkle in throughout some of the sessions is how do we evaluate the effectiveness of this? Like, is the time that we're putting into creating a short form video or any of these others, how do we know that it's actually making an impact
difference.
for our learners? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great. So I want to be respectful of everyone's time. Thank you, everyone, for joining the session today. I'm going to stop the recording now, but I believe, Karl, you're available to hang around.
Sure. Yeah, for a couple of minutes. If somebody has a question, I'll be glad to answer those.